On Christmas Day in 1642, Isaac Newton was born at Woolsthorpe Manor in Woolsthorpe, near Colsterworth, near Grantham, Lincolnshire, to Hannah Ayscough. Christmas Day babies were special, but Newton was also considered blessed because he was born 3 months after the death of his father, also called Isaac. It was in this humble home that one of the world's greatest, if not the greatest, of minds saw the light when he split white light through a prism to display the whole gamut of colours. He was also a Member of Parliament. However, he only spoke once. He told someone to close the window. Isaac Newton fled the Great Plague to Woolsthorpe Manor, stressing in later life that these enforced stays were the most intellectually fruitful of his whole life. Farmer's son Isaac spent his childhood in this home and remained after his widowed mother left to remarry a vicar, leaving Isaac, aged 3, in the care of his maternal grandmother. In the manor's orchard still grows the very fruit tree which caused Sir Isaac Newton to ask the question, why do apples always fall straight down? He coined the word gravity to name the force, and it stuck. Apple seeds from the tree that inspired Sir Isaac Newton were used in experiments by British astronaut Tim Peake on the International Space Station, and one seed was planted in this protected patch seen here. Grown from a pip taken by Major Tim Peake on his Principia mission to the International Space Station in 2015. Whilst the apple tree is one of the greatest draws to Woolsthorpe Manor, the museum-like house provides an insight into Newton's everyday life. By studying Newton's diaries and letters from his family and friends, the National Trust has recreated Newton's childhood home to the best of its ability. Newton had very few possessions and not much wealth of which to speak. From the outside, his home life appeared typical of the 17th century, yet Newton saw the world in a very different way. Scientists have uncovered a hidden windmill drawing at Sir Isaac Newton's parental Woolsthorpe farmhouse. In the kitchen, a faint carving of the post-mill suggests that Newton drew on the walls as a child. He paid little attention to his lessons, preferring to study the workings of mechanical devices, such as the newly built post-mill nearby. So he constructed a working model of the post-mill from wood. And visitors can see an example of Newton's post-mill model at Woolsthorpe Manor, which now belongs to the National Trust. There is probably no work of science that has drawn more attention from philosophers than Newton's Principia Mathematica. But one of scientists' greatest minds was humble enough to confess his faults. And here we see a list of Newton's handwritten list of sins, including one that says, "Not living according to my beliefs." Isaac Newton certainly left his mark on history. The Church Times reported in 2016 that the church where Sir Isaac Newton was baptised is to host a commemoration service as the finale of a 5-day festival celebrating the 350th anniversary of his Annus Mirabilis, when he made his greatest scientific discoveries, including the laws of gravitation. Evensong on Sunday at St John Baptist's in the Lincolnshire village of Colsterworth near Grantham will include a talk by Professor Rob Iliff, who is a Professor of History of Science at the Oxford University and a world authority on Newton. Sir Isaac Newton was born on Christmas Day in 1642, just a short walk away from Woolthorpe Manor. He was baptised in St John's the next New Year's Day. The sundial he carved with a penknife as a 9-year-old is still visible, and both his parents are buried in the church. The priest in charge of St John's, the Reverend Eric Lomax, hopes that the involvement with the Gravity Fields Festival will raise the profile of the Grade 1 listed church and its plans to create a Newton heritage and learning centre. Philosophiae Naturalis Principia Mathematica, or the mathematical principles of natural philosophy, often referred to as the Principia. It's a Latin work expanding Newton's laws of motions and his law of universal gravitation, in 3 books written in Latin, first published on the 5th of July 1687. The Principia forms the foundation of classical mechanics. Amongst other achievements, it explains Johannes Kepler's laws of planetary motion, which Kepler himself had first obtained empirically. The Principia is considered one of the most important works in the history of science. French mathematical physicist Alex Clairaut assessed it thus: "The famous book marked the epoch of a great revolution in physics. The method followed by its illustrious author, Sir Newton, spread the light of mathematics on a science which up to then had remained in the darkness of conjecture and hypothesis." Domestic arrangements were fairly conventional for the time, and here we see 2 pictures of Sir Isaac Newton's bedchamber taken from 2 different aspects. And here we see Woolthorpe Manor's spacious dining room, and below, the kitchen. It was thanks to his parental standing as yeoman farmers that he even had an education, for below them in status were the peasants. Well, there have been a few geniuses that have pushed us along the way over the years: Pythagoras, Archimedes, Galileo, Leonardo da Vinci, and of course the engineers and the medical geniuses who pushed us along through the Industrial Revolution and into the 21st century. Isaac Newton said that he felt as though he was standing on the shoulders of giants before a great sea of knowledge. Well, since that time we've taken several steps into that sea. It's up to our ankles now, but one can only wonder what will happen when it gets up to our knees. This is John Rhodes with CRH News.